Now, an asylum seeker died on board the Bibby Stockholm barge. Dorset Police said they received the report of a sudden death of a resident on the Bibby Stockholm on Tuesday morning.
The Home Secretary, James Cleverly, promises the death will be investigated fully. We're going to talk now to David Haigh, the human rights lawyer. David, good morning.
Good morning to you both.
So the human rights industry has already clicked into gear, saying, we knew this would happen, it's wicked, these people should not be kept in such inhumane conditions. That's palpable nonsense, isn't it?
I think you're right. Certainly at the moment, we need to work out exactly what happened. I mean, we've had the unofficial reports of what happened, and you know, as easy as it would be to blame the government's policy for causing the death, I think we need to work out the exact facts at the moment. You can't blame them for everything as much as we would like. And you know, I think, you know, from my perspective, from a human rights perspective, but also from an economic one, I think the Bibby Stockholm, you know, is a white elephant and should be closed. I think it's overly expensive, and you know, just from that perspective. And you know, I remember a while ago I looked at the figures of how much it's costing to put people there, and you could actually send them on a round-the-world cruise for pretty much the same price in terms of, you know, a general commercial cruise liner. So I think it should be closed for economical reasons, but also I think for practical and human rights reasons as well. But I don't think we can blame the government just yet.
David, obviously we've been discussing the Rwanda vote going through in the Commons last night. What happens now, in your opinion? Bring your expertise to this situation. What's the best case scenario for the boats to stop?
I mean, I agree with almost everything that Richard Tighe said. I mean, you know, I don't see that this is a way that's going to stop the boats. You know, and I think one of the things that is definitely going to happen is that you're going to have a lot of, I mean, there's a couple of words that are going to become very important if the legislation passes in its current form. And that's these words called serious and irreparable harm. And that's the loophole that currently exists in the legislation that would allow court challenges to go forward. So those words, if they stay, will become very important. There'll be a lot of lawyers, you know, probably booking Porsches over Christmas because they'll be making a lot of money on those words unless that's tied up. So I can understand, you know, like I said, from a human rights perspective, I don't think the policy should go through, but I can understand why the likes of Mark Francois and many in the party would be very angry with the current language because it will not stop the boats.
So are you saying that the government should tighten it up to the point where no appeals are allowed? Once a deportation is agreed, because that's what Mark Francois and the Tory right want.
Yeah, from my perspective, I wouldn't do that. I think the policy should be scrapped. I think it's a white elephant, a waste. You know, even from the economical perspective, I just think it should be scrapped, and they should focus on things that will actually work. But from the perspective of the likes of Mark Francois, I can understand why they're very, very angry, because the point from their perspective, this is pointless. It will not stop the boat. There will be court challenges with this current wording. Definitely there will be court challenges. And, you know, if you look at, for instance, at the moment, you've got lots of extradition treaties around the world. You've got an extradition treaty that Tony Blair's government put in with the UAE, which presumably at the time, you know, back in, I think it was 2006, we thought that that was a safe country. No one has been extradited under that treaty because of court challenges over human rights. So if you look at similar situations, you know, you will get court challenges under this language that will stop people going to Rwanda.
On what sort of basis, David? On what sort of basis might they make such a claim?
Well, I think, you know, that will come down to the interpretation of those words, serious and irreparable harm. What does that mean? And that's where the judges will come in, and then you will get evidence as to what that means. So, you know, as an extreme example, if one of the people coming across could argue that they are a member of their family is a member of the opposition of the president of Rwanda, and their life would be immediately at risk, that would be an example, I think, that would be easily, you know, would qualify. But then also you've got this stage where when you bring in things like mental health and when you bring in LGBT rights, and I can just imagine so many potential ways, at least to start a good argument, whether or not they go forward. And that's the thing. It opens the gates to court. So I can fully understand why people that want to close the route for courts to get involved completely would be very unhappy with this legislation, because it will not do that.
OK, fascinating. David Haigh, thank you so much, as always. We just need to read this. We just need to read this statement.
Oh, yes, we do.
Sorry, this is about the asylum seeker who lost his life. The Home Office have said this is a tragic incident and our thoughts are with everyone affected. The welfare of all of those in our care is of the utmost importance and we take our responsibility for their well-being incredibly seriously. This will now be investigated by the police and a coroner. It is right that the facts and circumstances surrounding this death are established. It will be investigated by the police and the coroner, etc.